Even The Phantom of the Opera returned as a lavish Technicolor remake.
Here is all you've ever wanted in entertainment in one superb show. Here is matchless story, suspenseful, terrifying, never so thrillingly presented. Starring Nelson Eddy in his most vigorous performance, lovely Susanna Foster, and Claude Rains in the most coveted role of the year as the Phantom of the Opera.
My music! You've stolen it! You've stolen my music!
But when Universal resorted to combining their classic monsters in a series of low-budget thrillers, it seemed audiences and the monsters were getting a little tired.
Last night I killed a man.
You didn't know what you were doing.
I'm going to give that brain of yours a new home in the skull of the Frankenstein monster.
As if trying to squeeze the last chills out of their classic creatures, Universal teamed them again, this time with resident screen clowns Bud Abbott and Lou Costello.
Count Dracula sleeps in this coffin, but rises every night at sunset. Chick is right. This is awful silly stuff.
Intended as a spoof of the 1930s horror films, Abbott and Costello Meet Frankenstein provided a fitting last hurrah. A surprise blockbuster, it benefited from a good script and a tour de force performance by Bela Lugosi as Dracula. But by the end of the decade, once proud monsters like Frankenstein, Dracula, the Mummy, and the Wolfman no longer haunted our dreams. The 1950s ushered in the atomic age, and Gothic horrors became a thing of the past. With new technology came new terrors. Aliens and robots upstaged their Gothic brethren. There were strange men from Planet X. Invaders from Mars.
Invaders from Mars. Weird, fantastic beings of a superintelligence, capturing humans at will for their own sinister purposes.
Monsters now had names like The Thing, The Blob, and It.
What was it? Where did it come from?
Yes, it came from outer space.
There were giant prehistoric beasts. And creatures from black lagoons. There were giant insects, giant people.
The Colossal Man is loose in Los Angeles.
And even giant brains.
This could be the beginning of the end for the human race.
In the paranoid period of the Cold War 50s, monsters usually came from other worlds and often attacked from within.
Listen to me. Please, listen. If you don't, if you won't, if you fail to understand, then the same incredible terror that's menacing me will strike at you!
A cursed, dreadful, malevolent thing was happening to those he loved.
Miles, where do they come from? I don't know. Suddenly, while you're asleep, they'll absorb your minds, your memories. I don't want any part of it. You're forgetting something, Miles. What's that? You have no choice.
We're here already! You're next!
But although films like Invasion of the Body Snatchers offered genuine thrills, science fiction monsters of the 1950s were often more lowbrow than high-tech. Fortunately, lovers of classic movie monsters were about to get a treat in the form of yet another marvel of the atomic age: television. The release of classic fright films to the small screen introduced Frankenstein, Dracula, the Wolfman, and the Mummy to a new generation of younger viewers. Late-night horror movies were often hosted by hip ghouls like Vampira and Zachary. Monster magazines like Famous Monsters of Filmland haunted newsstands, and stars like Boris Karloff, Lon Chaney Jr., and Bela Lugosi could once again bask in the moonlight.
The one, the only, king of monsters. Boris Karloff as Frankenstein, 1970, carrying on the hideous experiments of his infamous ancestor.
Let's get you some eyes.
To unleash a horror beyond all imagination.
Lon Chaney as the hook-armed, hate-maddened Cajun.
I'll kill you, alligator man! Just like I'd kill any four-legged gator! You will be soon as big as a giant. Or, like all the others, dead.
Drive-in audiences flocked to see teenage Frankensteins and teenage werewolves. And a British film company named Hammer revived the classic monster characters with a vengeance. With the release of The Curse of Frankenstein in 1957, a whole new era in screen monsters was born.
In the year 1860, I, Baron Frankenstein, was sentenced to death on the guillotine. Why? Why had the world condemned me? Because I was the first man to create another living being.
Directed by Terence Fisher, it starred Peter Cushing and Christopher Lee. Although the story owed more to Mary Shelley than James Whale, it stuck pretty close to traditional formulas. But this time, the formula had some new ingredients. There was color, and there was lots of blood.
Dr. Stein!
The film's success led to a follow-up in the form of Horror of Dracula.
This is not Lucy, the sister you loved. It's only a shell, possessed and corrupted by the evil of Dracula.
You must help me. You must. You're my only hope. You must.
I'll help you.
How do you destroy a fiend who has so far proven himself indestructible? Those who come to end his reign of terror stay to become his victims.
By now, Cushing and Lee were the new kings of horror. Hammer Films became a monster-making machine. There was an all-new Wolfman.
The full moon that turned an innocent man into a savage beast.